We are officially in 2026, and as of yesterday, December 31st, I just turned 20 years old. And that said, I thought it would be appropriate to make this video talking about the top lessons that I learned over this past year and how to have an absolutely generational run in 2026. Now, for those of you wondering, my name is James Nieves, and at the age of 19, I was able to scale my agency past 30K per month, move out of my parents' house, travel to different countries, and do that all without sacrificing my health, physique, or social life. Now, first things first is getting your foundations in check, and that is going to be all related to your health. So that's going to be your sleep, your diet, your supplementation, and your exercise. Now, first things first, the easiest one of these that you can get dialed in as of today is going to be training/exercise. Very, very simple. Do a push, pull, legs, rest split. So that means that, let's say it's Monday, you do push, that's going to be chest, triceps, and shoulders. Tuesday, you do pull, which is going to be back and biceps. And then on Wednesday, you're going to do legs. Thursday, you're going to rest, and then you repeat the cycle. Now, in regards to the specific exercises and rest times and all of that nuance, I can always make another video on this, but very simply put, if you just look up push, pull, legs, you'll find a bunch of great videos and training programs and all of that absolutely free at your disposal. ChatGPT can also help you, but just doing that alone and training hard will absolutely transform your physique and also come with so many cognitive benefits. You will just feel so much better. Your endorphins, your dopamine, all of it will just improve so much, and you'll just notice, you just feel better. Just trust me, follow a push-pull legs split in the gym. Train very hard, and what I mean by that is do not just stop when it's like, okay, it hurts a little bit, or I did 10 reps. Really push yourself, go to failure till you absolutely can't anymore, and you will see a drastic change in both your physique and also how you feel. Now, on top of that, another thing when it comes to training is cardio. And I used to neglect cardio all the time. I thought I was just burning unnecessary calories. I was trying to bulk, and I thought I shouldn't be doing it. But then after really learning about the benefits of cardio, there's just too much to neglect it. Like, it is so beneficial, even just walking for 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, whatever it may be, just go on a walk when you can. What I really recommend for all my entrepreneurs out there is to get a desk treadmill. So basically, it's like a small treadmill that you put under your desk if you have a standing desk, and then you can essentially walk while you work. So you have your desk, it's at standing height, you have the treadmill, right? It's a little slide under the desk, and then you can walk while you work. You will feel so much better. You will sleep better. Your health will improve. Your heart will improve. There's just so many benefits to not do cardio. And that's, in all honesty, one of the biggest regrets that I have from the past is not prioritizing cardio. So 30 minutes of cardio, it could literally just be a light walk each day, and then push, pull legs, and you will be great. Now, when it comes to diet, that's probably one of the biggest things that I see entrepreneurs really struggle to dial in, but it is one of the most influential on their direct business output. And that's because your gut is directly linked to your brain, meaning if your gut has to digest a bunch of crap, a bunch of junk food, sugar, etc., your blood sugar levels will be all over the place, your insulin spiking, your heart has to send blood down there, and that's not going to your brain, and that's going to cause brain fog. And that's why 90% of people can't sit and watch a simple YouTube video without having to pull out their phone or look in the comments or click off, whatever it may be. It's because their focus is so fried. And part of that is from things like short form content, but the biggest contributor is going to be diet. I mean, you can try this yourself. Go try and eat 2 crumble cookies and then try doing really deep focused work for 4 hours after. You probably won't even be able to make it 10 minutes. And that's because of the effect that it has on your brain. Now, of course, diet is important for dialing in your physique and getting shredded and getting jacked, but that's only a small part of it. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my past. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was initially getting into the gym, was all I was caring about was my macronutrients. So hitting my protein and calories, but backfilling calories with just crap. And, oh, I need 3,500 calories. Okay, well, 2K of those are going to be absolute junk food. And then I'll eat 1K in clean food for my protein. It's like, that is fine for the gym. But when it comes to business and working and focusing and really trying to build something big, That is where the disconnect is. So my number one recommendation for any agency owners or entrepreneurs out there is to keep your diet extremely, extremely clean. Don't just focus on calories in, calories out, protein, all of that. Like, yes, that's important, but the actual type of foods that you are eating in order to hit those macros is going to be the most influential on reducing brain fog and improving your cognitive function. Now, instead of telling you some complicated, fancy diet to follow that you're never going to actually do, I'll make this super, super simple for you. Don't eat anything that didn't come from the ground, a plant / tree, or from an animal. That's really it. If you want to know what I eat, it's very, very simple. I eat eggs, butter, steak, and a salad. That's it. I'll have 4 to 6 eggs in the morning cooked in butter, a ribeye steak at lunch with butter, and then for dinner, I'll have another ribeye with a really large salad. And the salad, it has lettuce, spinach, blue cheese crumbles, extra virgin olive oil, and vinegar. That's it. And if you think that's boring, you'd be right. However, when you cut out things like sugar and seed oils and processed food, after that initial withdrawal phase, you actually look forward to eating clean, especially when you know how good you feel when you do. Now, for those of you who are wondering about carbs, because you might have noticed I didn't mention any carbs there, carbs are completely fine and actually very beneficial, but there is a caveat. If you are optimizing for money and being an entrepreneur and focus, then you want to make sure that you don't have too many carbs. And most importantly, this is the most important thing, time them at the end of your day after work. Do not eat carbs for breakfast. Do not eat carbs for lunch. Only eat them once you are done with all of your work. And that's because carbs turn into glucose, which then spikes your insulin, which will then cause brain fog. And that's why most people, after having a giant carb-filled meal at lunch, their productivity declines for the rest of the day and they don't really get anything meaningful done. That's because of that carb crash. So if you can just delay that till after you're done working, then you can avoid that altogether. And in regards to like what type of carbs, once again, keep it clean. White rice is good, sweet potatoes are good, fruits are good, etc., etc. Now, on top of having a clean diet and avoiding junk food, there is still going to be some things that are missing, and that's fine. Nobody gets all of the nutrients that they need from their diet, and that is where supplements come into play. Now, keep in mind, supplements are exactly in the name. They are supplementary, so it is on top of a clean diet. It will not replace a bad diet. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out-supplement bad training. There's no such thing as a magic pill, but once you get those foundations in place, that's where supplements become very beneficial. So in regards to what supplements I take and what I recommend, number 1, creatine monohydrate, number 2, ashwagandha, number 3, magnesium, number 4, zinc, number 5, vitamin D, number 6, vitamin C, and number 7, electrolytes. Now, if you want me to make a video going more in depth in regards to the specific supplements, what they do, dosage, etc., I can absolutely do that. Just comment down below. But for now, I'm just sharing what I personally take, so feel free to do your own research. Now, on top of the supplements that I just mentioned, there are 2 supplements that are a little bit of a gray area, but I think are very much worth mentioning, especially for entrepreneurs who are also into fitness. And those 2 are MK677 and retatrutide. Now, MK677, long story short, what it does is it makes you extremely hungry, indirectly increases your growth hormone. It is not a steroid. It is not direct growth hormone. However, it does increase your growth hormone, which allows you to get even better sleep. And once again, gives you the appetite of a horse. Now, keep in mind, this isn't FDA approved, so this is just for educational purposes only. Use at your own risk. Learn about the insulin affecting factors of it as well. That is the one risk of using MK. But if I'm being totally honest, MK was absolutely life-changing for me. And that's because I've always been a much skinnier dude, never really had an appetite. And when it came to bulking up, as I mentioned before, I used to have to stuff my face with junk because of the fact that I didn't have an appetite. So eating 3,000, 4,000 calories clean was just never in the cards for me. or so I thought. I learned about MK, I did my research, and I started taking it, and it was a night and day difference. I went from having zero appetite to being extremely hungry, having the appetite of a horse, and being able to eat so much food without feeling stuffed or full or lethargic after. So once again, do your own research, but if you are an entrepreneur who's also looking to bulk and you want some help with your appetite, MK677, definitely look into it. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, if you're looking to cut, there's retatrutide. Now, retatrutide is a peptide, so it is something that you inject into yourself. Once again, it is not a steroid. Do more research. This is for education purposes only. It's not FDA approved. However, I know quite a few friends who are taking retatrutide and have been taking it and have had game-changing results with it when it comes to completely suppressing their appetite, suppressing all their cravings. It's also, there's now studies coming out saying that it's actually good for your kidneys. So a bunch of positives there, but long story short, retatrutide will kill your appetite, kill your cravings. So if you are an overweight person looking to cut down, then retatrutide can definitely help when it comes to managing appetite. Once again, educational purposes, use at your own risk. Now, this last pillar of health, I'll be completely transparent, is the one that I am the least dialed in compared to all the others, but it is so important, and that is sleep. Now, when it comes to sleep, there have been periods of my life where I was extremely dialed with sleep, and at this point, I've paid over $10,000 to high performance coaches specifically who specialize in maximizing energy and focus for entrepreneurs. And when it comes to sleep, here are all the best practices to keep in mind. Number one, at the foundation of it all, this is the biggest needle mover: go to bed and wake up at the same exact time. Set a bedtime alarm an hour before you plan on going to sleep. Stick to it like it is a business meeting. You need to really keep that promise to yourself that if you're going to bed at 10, that you actually start winding down at 9, and once again, stick to that 10 p.m. bedtime religiously. Now, on top of that, you also want to make sure that you're winding down at least an hour before bed. And what does winding down entail? No screens, no blue light, and most importantly, no stimulation. Do not be scrolling short form content. Do not be checking your messages, checking your emails, working on your business, which was the hardest one for me to eliminate. But it is something that is absolutely necessary. And that's because good sleep, at least a really big portion of it, comes down to lowering your heart rate right before bed. Having the lowest possible resting heart rate should be the number one thing that you're optimizing for when it comes to sleep. And how do you track this? How do you know your heart rate, your sleep quality, all this stuff? Get something to track it. You need it to be measurable. Do not go off of, oh, I feel like I slept good, or I got 8 hours. You need something to actually track the quality. Me personally, I recommend a Whoop. I'll leave the link in the description. You could also get an Aura, but just get something that will actually give you tangible numbers that you can track and most importantly, improve on over time when it comes to sleep. Now, on top of winding down, you also want to make sure that you do not eat at least 3 hours before bed. At least, ideally 4, 5, 6 hours before bed is your last meal. No later than that. You do not want to be going to bed digesting food. Digesting food is one of the most taxing things that your body can do. And if your body, while you're sleeping, has to focus on digesting food, then it's not focusing on repairing your body or recovering your brain. Do not smoke weed, do not consume nicotine, and do not drink alcohol anywhere near bedtime. That will completely screw up all of your sleep. Also, avoid caffeine past 2 p.m. Now, aside from that, you also want to follow the dead person sleep rule. And what I mean by this is you want to sleep like a dead person. So you want to go to bed cold, right? Cold air around you, like in a cold environment, cold room. You could still be in your covers. You don't have to be like freezing out there, right? You could still have covers, all that, but cold room, dark, you literally like pitch black. And by pitch black, I mean like if you have a TV in your room, for some reason, you should probably get that out. But if you have a TV and it has like a little like red or blue light just for like the on, like even that, you want it to be pitch black. Black tape it or wear an eye mask. That's what I do, especially if you're traveling. Very, very convenient. But you want it to be pitch black. You want it to be very cold. You also want to be completely deaf. And if you live in a noisy environment, or you live with people, you live in a city, whatever it may be, then what you can do is use white noise. White noise is really good because what it does is it regulates the audio, in the sense that if there is a car driving by, or there's a person walking, or there's this sound, that sound, right? Whatever it may be, if you have any sounds at all in your environment and it's not completely soundproof, use white noise. You could get an app on your phone, you can buy a white noise machine. That's what I did. But that will at least have a consistent level of noise that your brain will essentially be able to drown out, or at least sleep through. But it's not some varying sounds, loud noise then quiet, loud noise then quiet. That will just make sleep terrible for you. And then as I said before, you also want to go to bed a little bit hungry. You do not want to eat anywhere near your bedtime. Now, I know everything that I just dropped on you might be a lot to take in all at once. It might seem a little bit overwhelming, or maybe even impossible or out of reach. But the thing you have to keep in mind is that self-improvement and really getting dialed in, especially when it comes to things like sleep and diet, which most people have been completely screwed from childhood. And what I mean by this is they're conditioned to eat poorly. 60% of Americans are overweight, right? A lot of American children, by their parents and school, have been fed junk all their life, have gotten super addicted, super overweight, and all this stuff. On top of that, if you're in school or work a late job, then your sleeping habits have probably been completely out of whack for most of your life as well. I know mine definitely were. For almost all of high school and even middle school, I was going to sleep at 3 a.m., 1 a.m., 4 a.m., pulling all-nighters. I was eating absolute crap. Even when I was 16, 17, bulking up and getting in the gym, I might have been working out, but I was eating like crap. I was still sleeping like crap. And despite my physique improving and I might have looked good, when it came to my actual energy levels, my ability to focus, my ability to produce exceptional work, which correlates directly with your business, that was completely out of whack. But when I really dialed in and when I really focused on improving these aspects, and keep in mind, it is a constant game of improving. It is never going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be. As I mentioned, my sleep, especially recently, I'm now traveling in my hometown. As you can see, it's super snowy over here. I was here for my birthday, New Year's, Christmas, all of that. My sleep got really screwed up. There were periods this past year where I slipped up on my diet a bit, but that's okay as long as you are constantly making constant efforts to improve. If you slip off your diet, come back. Make sure to get back on track. If you miss a week of working out, don't quit and stop working out. You get back to it the next week. That is the game of self-improvement, and that is how you progress. And despite not being perfect, my constant effort to progress in these areas of physiology is what led to me being able to scale past 30K a month at the age of 19. Now, keep in mind, to get to 100K a month, 150K a month and beyond, that's going to require a different level of being dialed. I'm going to need to improve even more. And the biggest bottleneck for me is probably going to be dialing in my sleep a lot more consistently. And more consistent I get with that, the closer I will be to achieving the next levels. So before I end this video, I want you to do one thing right now. And I promise you, if you actually listen to this and if you actually take action on what I'm about to tell you to do, then by the end of this year, your life will look completely different. Your physique, your energy, how you feel, and also your business, you will make more money than you ever have in your life. Just do this. I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down the 4 pillars we just went over: sleep, diet, training, and supplementation. And I want you to write 3 actionable things that you can do as of today, not as of tomorrow, not as of next week, not as of next year, as of today, that you can do to take steps in order to improve these aspects of your life. I know I dropped a ton of different things and it might be a little bit overwhelming, but I want you to break it down into the top 3 most important things for you. So that could be in diet to eat under 2,000 calories. That can be to cut out sugar. That can be to cut out fast food, whatever that might be for you. For supplementation, it might be buy creatine today, buy vitamin D today, research MK677, research retatrutide. For sleep, that might be to set a sleep alarm, to put your phone in a different room, to turn your AC on at night. And for training, that could be to sign up to a gym. It could be to start doing cardio. It could be to research a workout plan, whatever it might be for you. And this is all going to be individual to your own goals. I want you to write down 3 things for each of those pillars and make sure you execute on it. Stick to it and make it a habit. And over time, you will progress. You will get better. You'll never be perfect, but just remember, progress will always beat perfection.